Today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen emphasizes racial equity. Tony Bobulinski returns to Tucker Carlson nearly 2 years after he first broke the news about Hunter Biden, and Elon Musk may buy Twitter after all. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, and I am joined today by the one, the only, Alex Stein, BlazeTV contributor and host of Conspiracy Castle. We are also joined by, I feel like he's like miming.
I am. Well, that's my action. And honestly, you're about to introduce Jason. I don't want to step on his introduction, but I feel so emasculated. I know, but I feel so emasculated. I come here, I see his Indian motorcycle, and I drive here in a little Toyota. It's very emasculating having this guest on. So I'd prefer a little, next time, a guest approval, next time you consider Jason and me. So.
Okay.
Well, could you tell him to dress down? Because I just look like trash.
Yeah.
See, there we go.
They
Okay, now
pulled it
we're
off the
even,
street.
Jason. All right, now I like Jason. Now we've humanized each other. He drives a way cooler motorcycle. I drive a car, and I'm a little higher. You know, I'm dressed a little fancier.
Jason Buttrell, of course, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program, who I really do. I'm digging the beard.
You like that?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm maybe compensating for lack of hair elsewhere.
Well, I know, but see, Jason.
But if you don't have hair on your head, and but either by choice or whatever, and you do have a beard, it's very, very manly. Like it just is like masculine.
And it's super masculine to do the shave because he still has hair. You know, he could grow it out, but he shaves it. It's like I'm not afraid to be, slicked back.
Yeah, I think it looks badass.
I won't mention the K company at all, but it did work.
Yeah, it did.
A little something.
It did. All right, I guess we'll get to the stories of the day. Whatever. Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen spoke at the United States Treasury Bank Forum and announced the formation of a Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity. Yay! She also said racial equity is the centerpiece of the Biden administration's economic agenda, just in case you guys hadn't figured that out yet. Watch.
Our economy has failed to live up to the nation's promise of equal opportunity for all. We know that we need to do all we can to build a fairer economy, and that's why we have put racial equity at the forefront of our agenda at Treasury and across the Biden administration. We did this first with the implementation of the American Rescue Plan that was tried to build the foundation for an equitable economic recovery. And now through our recently passed economic agenda that includes the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, we're trying to invest in communities that have often been ignored or overlooked.
All right, you got to pay attention to her words because the way that she delivers her speech is actually a real snooze fest. But the committee will identify, monitor, and review aspects of the domestic economy that have directly and indirectly resulted in unfavorable conditions for communities of color. Now, it's interesting there because she claimed in that statement that that there is not equal opportunity in America, but that is A, not true, and also B, not what equity is about. Of course, equity is about providing equal outcome for people, whether it be minorities, the Black community, the Hispanic community, what have you. These have been just kind of, we've been called conspiracy theorists for a very long time for talking about these things, and they are making it very, very obvious that, ESG and, racial equity and all of these terms that we were talking about are actually what they want to do, and they are rolling these things out in very real ways.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal because we should have a meritocracy and we don't. And it's not like I don't want to help out marginalized people. I think we all do. But now people are lying about being a minority on their college resumes to even get into college. So it's kind of they're gaming the system. And that's why I think our system's so screwed up, because it's not based on people's ability to, be smart or lead by a good example. It's like, let's just put people like KJP, in position when she's really not qualified for the job.
Jason? I would imagine you have a lot to say.
Yeah, well, I guess a couple of things. It's just funny to me. It really cracks me up how the left in modern times today really so desperately want to live in the 60s or before the 60s. Yeah. So like all of them are like, yeah, like, let's march in the streets because we want, women to vote. That's been done already. All right, well, we want gay marriage. Crap, that was done too, right? Well, shoot, let's invent something else, like racial equity also. I mean, I literally think either they really want to live in the 60s or they got nothing else, and so they're just invoking that, at every step of the way because they want it to be so. These are battles that they've already won, right? So that should cue in most people that there's something more going on here. There's something behind, whatever they're doing. And also, I want to, just kind of point out that every time they've pivoted in this direction to where they want racial equity, they want, a fair economy or whatever, which if you follow the laws of economics, it's supply and demand. You know what I mean? Like people, like you pointed out, it should be a meritocracy. That's what creates wealth at all levels of the spectrum. But every time they've done this in the past, like the war on poverty, LBJ, initiatives like that where they promise to fix all these issues, they've made them all worse.
Yes.
I mean, not only economically, but they've destroyed families. They've destroyed, oh my God, I mean, at this point, I guess you can say millions of minority families through these policies. It never works out. It's always, we're doing it for you, but the end result is, F you. That's what ends up happening, and then they sit back and then reap all the power and the benefits. They don't care about the people they hurt. This hurts people that they're supposed to represent. They're not going to feel any of the pain at all, but it's going to hurt everyone else.
Does it surprise you that two of these committee appointees, the Committee for Racial Equity for the Biden-Harris administration, does it surprise you that they are Soros-funded nonprofit?
Wow, what a big surprise.
Yeah, they've received millions from the Open Society Foundation. Felicia Wong, this is the committee's vice chair, is president and CEO of the Roosevelt Institute and Roosevelt Forward. And they accepted, $4.7 million from Open Society. And there's another one, the other one that Lorella Praley. She runs a nonprofit as well that it's Community Change and Community Change Action, and that one has received over $8 million. Look, we're just crazy conspiracy theorists. Put on your tinfoil hat. George Soros is not quietly doing things to push us in a certain direction. That's not, please.
No, and I think it's like Saul Alinsky's, one of his rules for radicals is to basically accuse the enemy of what they're accusing you of. And I would say that if you really put everything through a racial lens, by judging everything by race or gender, that inherently is racist, instead of just looking at it from a broad view, like I said earlier, the meritocracy. And so, of course, get your tinfoil hats out. George Soros is the greatest guy ever. He loves society, and everything he does is beneficial for us. So thank you, George Soros, for all the help you've given us.
I love the, you're talking about the people who view everything through the lens of racism are actually the real racists. It reminds me of the tweet that I just saw from Mark Lamont Hill. Apparently, you're supposed to be very offended that Kanye West wore a White Lives Matter shirt at Paris Fashion Week alongside Candace Owens. Those of you who are watching the podcast can see it right here. That was a really, really bad thing for him to do, I guess. And Mark Lamont Hill apparently says that these are, what did he say? Basically insinuating that you are racist for saying something like White Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter, of course. And Kanye actually posted on his Instagram, everyone knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome. So...
And it's not even a conspiracy. Talk about all these things with George Soros or BLM. But with George Soros, you used to I remember, back in the day we would get, censored or criticized for even mentioning George Soros. If you just criticized George Soros, all of a sudden it was called anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Actually, in fact, I think they still say that.
Yes.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
You're an anti-Semite.
Adam Kinzinger, on both sides. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We're not even talking about his race. We're talking about what he's doing. I mean, yeah, it's funny now. It's so easy to look this stuff up. There's like a public database of like 990 forms that you can go, and that's like what some of these nonprofits have to file to be a nonprofit. And you just go into them and look through, and it's the same usual suspects every single time. Open Society Foundation will be on there, like I mean, anything, all across the board, whether it's like on the border, funding some of these groups that are actually they're doing the jobs that immigration enforcement should be doing. But the Biden administration doesn't want to do that. They want to pawn it off to some of these other groups because they know they're funded by people like Soros that are just filtering them all into the country anyway. It's not a conspiracy. I remember when it was Newt Gingrich went on, I think it was on Fox News. He went on Fox News and he said, well, the reason why we have all these like radical district attorneys and all these like cities are like boiling over in crime right now is because these Soros-funded DAs.
Right.
Yeah.
They stopped him and actually stopped the segment because they're like, oh, we can't mention Soros. Now it's everywhere. It's not even disputed. Everyone knows that he's funding all these DAs to be, to come in and be soft on crime. I've lost count from all the things that were considered conspiracy theories that are now just, we know about. What was that new thing today about that Chinese guy that was had some kind of election software or whatever.
But the next day, they had to correct it that the person got arrested. They said it was a conspiracy.
That New York Times guy?
Yes,
like,
and the next day.
Yeah, I think we have that later.
Oh,
but I do want to say.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, so I have an opinion on this. It's a little different than y'all. I think Candace Owens and Kanye West are both black white supremacists, and they need to be shut down. And that Black Lives Matter was the best organization ever. Patricia Cullors buying 2 mansions, I think accumulating $5.3 million. She deserved those mansions, and Black Lives Matter deserve that money. So, Kanye, Candace, canceled.
Yeah, I mean, that really is truly what they're acting like. And it's like, okay, so how much of that money has gone to actually helping the black community? I believe, last time I checked, it was $0. So, gee, I wonder if that was a scam. I want to bring some other news here. Yesterday, Education Secretary Miguel Cardona suggested students need abortion in order to succeed in school and life. This is like demonic stuff happening right now. Watch.
I share your grave concerns about maintaining access to contraception and reproductive health services on our college campuses, and ensuring there's accurate and reliable information for
Is Joe Biden
students
even alive
and
right
for
now?
educators.
Yeah.
Students need access to
in La La
health care
Land
to
right
thrive
there.
in school and in life.
Someone needs to
and
kick
that
him under the
includes
table.
reproductive health care.
It's interesting because we were just talking about race issues in America. Black women have the highest abortion percentage rate and ratio, according to the CDC. And back in, I believe it was 2016, more black babies were aborted than born in New York City. So you would think if these people care about racial equity and if these people care about the black community, they would, advocate for more black babies to be actually born rather than killed by their own mothers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really weird argument to be so pro-abortion, and I think it's like the same, with these businesses like Starbucks will give you $2,000 to go on an abortion vacation. In reality, they don't want you to have a baby so you won't miss work.
Right.
And so it's all a scam, and the idea that like racial equity, when obviously African Americans are the one that are aborting the most children. They don't care about black lives. They don't care about any lives, in my opinion, especially the youngest ones. So, yeah, I mean, once again, it's just kind of a psychological operation to make you feel guilty for us not wanting to kill babies.
Yeah, and Jason, I mean, you can't be anything, do anything in life if you have those children. You can't do it. Please, those are dead weight. You just got to kill them.
And that's the thing that's what's crazy about the narrative from the government or everyone that's so pro-abortion right now is there isn't not even a single shred, not even coming close to a conversation on any alternatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no alternative. Like it's either, it's just abortion or bust pretty much for these people. There's nothing about, we're also signing into legislation now, for, pregnancy clinics, if they want to have their babies, and we're going to make it easier, and, we're going to talk to some of these communities to allocate more funds to, to help these groups get out the word that they have options out there. There's people out there that care for them. There's none of that. I mean, in fact, it's almost anti. No, it is anti. It's like, you want to have your baby? No, just kill it. That's all there is. There's no conversation whatsoever. We're doing a show tonight on, that Christians need to not be afraid of just being able to call evil by its name.
Yeah.
I personally believe that abortion is evil. And I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that disagree with me on multiple different, I don't care. That's what I believe. I believe that I in my heart that it is evil, and I'm not afraid to call it that. I'm probably going to get you in trouble on YouTube for this or wherever, but I mean, surgically mutilating a child is evil. You're evil. If you advocate that, or if you perform it, or if you're a parent and let it happen, you are evil. We should be strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder and say these things.
Yeah.
It's stupid. I mean, the way that evil is normalized now is absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Crime is normalized.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth Warren said the pregnancy crisis centers that help young mothers were evil.
Yeah, that's how
How
demented.
insane is
I
that,
know.
right? Like, what?
I know.
Gosh.
Well, we here at Blaze TV are not afraid to call out evil, which is why you should make sure that you are subscribed. But I want to look. We got to change gears here, and we got to take a quick break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Raycon. So. Here's the thing. When you have a very busy life, maybe you're on the go, maybe you have a large family, and you're trying to do things like maybe digest this program, maybe listen to music, maybe get whatever podcast in that you want to listen to. A great way to do it is by owning Raycon earbuds, because not only are you going to get awesome audio quality, they fit all the way in the ear. They've got different sizes for the gel tips, so you can find the one that works for you, and they don't have that annoying stem that hangs down like that. That's pointless. It's just going to weigh your ear down. It's just going to fall out. I don't know why anyone would design earbuds that way, but Raycon was smart enough not to. They also have a noise isolation and awareness mode and earbud tap functions. I use them. I bought some for my mom because my mom wanted to try them out. She loves them as well. Everyone I know loves their Raycon, and you are going to get it at a steal compared to their competitors. You got to go to buyraycon.com/Y. Get 15% off over there at that's BUY, buyraycon.com/Y, promo code Y. Hunter Biden's former business partner, this is Tony Bobulinski, joined Tucker Carlson last night. This is about 2 years after his first appearance back in 2020. Just as a reminder, he is the former CEO of Sinahawk Holdings, which he said was the partnership between the Chinese energy company CEFC and Joe Biden and his brother, of course, Jim Biden. Now, in last night's interview, Bobulinski said that Joe Biden was the chairman of Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. And Bobulinski says that he actually presented evidence to the FBI that the Bidens committed multiple felonies and that the agent Timothy Tybalt was in charge. He did nothing. And now just recall here, that is the same agent who just resigned in August, although his lawyers claim that he was not connected to the Hunter Biden investigation. Watch.
So at the end of that 5+ hour interview, the head of station told my lawyers, listen, an individual named Tim Tebow is going to run point on all of this. We're definitely going to have Tony come back in for a follow-up interview. Could be as early as next week. Tim was not there that day. I think he was out of Washington, D.C. But my lawyers had an hour and a half call with him that Friday night, October 23rd, and subsequent calls through the weekend and the following week when I was then coming on your show to provide the facts to the American people. And they were supposed to be working a follow-up interview. And Tim Tebow, in his last discussion with my legal counsel, was, listen, we know Tony's cooperating. We appreciate all the information he's provided. We will follow up with you. We're definitely going to have him come in for a follow-up interview or spend some more time on this. And I haven't heard from him since.
At all?
No. Nor have my lawyers.
Just another thing look, I feel like we were just talking last segment about how you're just a conspiracy theorist and you just put on your tinfoil hat and all of these things that we were talking about. It's just that, they just continue to be true. And nobody wants to talk about it except, I guess, Tucker Carlson and us. Jason, I want to go to you first on this one because I know all of the hours that you put into a lot of specials, a lot of Glenn Beck specials on these particular, incidents. And it's like, what year was that? Was that 2020?
Oh, gosh. No, that was before that. That was
2019?
That was before the pandemic, yeah. So 2018, 2019. Oh, no. Yeah. 2018, 2019, probably.
How wild is it that it's like, yeah, we're still talking about all this? Like, with the information is all available.
No, it's infuriating. It really is. And I remember when we first started those, we started with everything coming out of China. That's what we focused on, and showing all the shady business deals. We lined up how the timelines when Hunter Biden was traveling on the same jet as his dad, going to some of these countries, and then mysteriously a day later he would strike this huge business deal that he had no business getting into. That was before the Ukraine stuff, and then all the Ukraine stuff, and it was even worse. All the evidence was there. We did not have a Tony Bobulinski at that point, but then when he came out right before the election and was saying this stuff, that was when the laptop stuff was coming out and they were censoring that. I mean, it's infuriating that the media didn't pick up more on this, because you would think the New York Times would have a field day with this stuff. That's what they used to do, but by and large, they're not even touching it.
Yeah.
But then it was also infuriating how I think even on our side, how we were, when I say our side, like generally considered conservative media, would harp on, oh, look, he's out there, with his wang hanging out at the pool, and then he's with these prostitutes. And we get it, right? He's a complete deviant. He's a weird guy, and he's a crackhead. We got it. That means nothing. Yeah. Compared to this type of stuff. Right. I mean, that's all a smokescreen. And I think even the liberal media has caught on to that too, where they're like, what's the big deal? He's not the president. The big deal is the connection between the big guy or the chairman, which is he's calling him, with these shady business deals. That's what it is. And that goes towards everything the left hates about capitalism. Like, they hate crony capitalism. Well, these are the poster children for crony capitalism. Yeah. The only reason this family has accumulated the wealth is because their dad was, a senator for so many years and now the president of the United States. That's the only reason. Yeah. I mean, they should be out in force, condemning the Biden family, but they're silent.
Well, I mean, not to mention the national security issues that would be involved in making a guy president who has no problem, doing shady business dealings with China and Ukraine. It's like that's like Pandora's box of just like really, really heavy duty national security interests.
Oh, and it's a good point. Like, one of the things that Russia, remember when all that stuff was, kicking off, I think it was in Kazakhstan or one of those stands. And the Russians had to go in to help stabilize. They had Russian troops on the ground to stabilize the unrest. One of the things the Russian government pointed out was that photograph of Hunter and his President Biden and that crazy guy that they ended up, I think, expelling from their own country. That's one of the things they used as an excuse to try to point the blame on us. Right there. The Ukraine stuff, like right from the beginning, they pointed out the business dealings between the Biden family and the Ukrainians. I mean, exactly to your point, they are using this to make us look bad.
Yep.
And I got to say this because, you can actually check the clip. When I was on my biological father's show, Tucker Carlson, my appearance, I also mentioned how they will give us a million pictures of a crack pipe, but they won't actually talk about his illegal business dealings all over the world. And we even have Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, on tape basically describing the quid pro quo that he did with Ukraine, and nobody cares. It's similar to the weapons of mass destruction that we didn't find in the Middle East. I just feel like we know that they're lying to us. We know that we have all this information about Hunter Biden doing all these illegal business dealings with not just the Ukraine, but with China. But all day long, they're going to show us in a jockstrap. They're going to show us, with methamphetamine. They're going to show them with prostitutes, all to distract us and almost make us feel sympathetic, because everybody probably knows somebody that has an issue with drugs or alcohol, and that actually humanizes Hunter. So for me, it's frustrating because we have all this evidence of illegal business dealings, but all they do is give us a crack pipe.
Were you the one that brought up in the show earlier, like whatever that?
Saul Alinsky, the projection method.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, they're going to blame the other side. Exactly right, and exactly what they did in Ukraine, the quid pro quo thing, which you brought up. I mean, they were the first ones to do the quid pro quo, but then a couple of years later, they tried to blame it on Trump. Yeah. I mean, it's exactly the same. All of the Trump family's business dealings, they blamed all that stuff. Of course, it was shady, but nothing as far as what they were doing. It's all a smokescreen.
They think going on The Apprentice is the same as selling out national security to China.
Unreal.
So I found it fascinating too. We don't have to play the clip. I know it's kind of a long one, but Bobulinski went on to say that, not only did the FBI not ever reach back out to him, but once this story was produced in 2020 by the New York Post about Hunter, if anyone had reached out to him about it, like social media, Facebook, Twitter, before they started censoring this, he would have responded to them within 5 minutes, like, yeah, it's real, and produced the email. Nobody ever reached out to him. And it's kind of interesting because a 2020 poll, it was a November 2020 poll from after the election, said that 16% of Biden voters would not have voted for Joe Biden had they known the facts about one or more of several of those stories that were circulating at the time. And this was Hunter Biden laptop story, Tara Reade sexual assault allegations, and the Middle East peace deals negotiated by Trump. I find it sad that it's only 16% of Biden voters, but I also find it obviously not negligible. I mean, 16% is not nothing. When you do have the safest and most secure election in American history, and you do have 81 million votes, which is why you, of course, have to fortify things, right?
Yep.
You always know when you are the most popular president and it is so safe and so secure, you do also have to do some sort of fortifying. I guess it's difficult to know if there would have been any different result. But it's fascinating. All of these things that we're saying are happening, or it's just that they're happening right under our eyes. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Wow, that's really loud.
Definitely wouldn't have mattered.
It's really sad. It's like, okay, yesterday afternoon, Elon Musk proposed buying Twitter at $54.20 per share, leading regulators to halt trading. This would value Twitter at approximately $44 billion. And Twitter indicated they are moving forward with the deal in a statement saying, we received the letter from the Musk parties, which they have filed with the SEC. The intention of the company is to close the transaction at $54.20 per share. Obviously, this has been an ongoing battle. Man, just to think about the evolution of this story and the back and forth, and, they were in court over his attempt to cancel the offer, over the number of bot accounts on the platform. He had expressed concerns that the actual share of fake accounts on the platform could range as high as 33% after Twitter had indicated that it was 5% or lower. And it's got to be higher. Well, it's been interesting because since the news of this surfaced, I've seen quite a difference in my Twitter followers. I don't know if you guys noticed, once Elon proposed buying it, we all got a huge influx of followers. Well, I saw a completely reversal of that after news broke of this. I lost 5,000 followers. You could literally watch it happening in real time. But then I gained a couple thousand of those back. So I'm not sure. I should go on and look right now. I'm not sure.
No, Sarah, mine's the exact same way. I lost 5,000, then now it's back up 3,000. So,
yeah.
it'd be, what is there? 350 million Americans, supposedly roughly 7 billion people on Earth. I don't know how many people really are on Twitter, but if I had to do the math, a lot of them are fake accounts because CNN has 1 million followers, Brian Stelter has 1 million followers, and gets no.
Their engagement is not.
So these bots are important for the appearance, but anybody that actually plays the Twitter game and knows what's going on, you can see, the amount of followers to likes, that it's ingenuine followers. So the bots are there. They're crazy. Elon Musk, I love you, even though you want to put a computer chip in our brain to park our Tesla. I hope if you get Twitter and it does go through, we need Alex Jones back and we need DJT Senior back, Donald Trump. If that doesn't happen, then it's all for naught.
I'm sure he would want Donald Trump to come back. It would just be if Donald Trump would come back.
Oh, he'd come back. Come on, Donald Trump's addicted to Twitter.
I think he would too. He talks a big game about, I think he actually came out and said not that long ago when Elon first said that he wanted to buy Twitter, he was like, no, I'm only going to stay on Truth Social. But it's not doing very well.
That gives him a reason. The Elon Musk gives him the bump where it takes the onus off of him. It's
right. So. Yeah, I'm not doing a deal with the devil. I'll throw Elon a bone because he's never done me wrong.
The bots though are, there's no way what they said 5%. If what they say that Elon Musk said 30%.
He said it could be as high as 33%.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's even more than that.
Yeah.
Because especially if you play the Twitter game a lot, especially if you hit a certain big hot ticket item or whatever, you'll get some random Joe Schmo, usually with a bunch of numbers at the end of their name. They'll be like, it is true that Alex Stein is a very dapper, dresser and, looks so much better on the News and Why It Matters than Jason Butchell does. And then
That's not me.
Jason just said those are all bots.
No, those are all bots. I agree with him. I agree with him.
But then
Anyone complimenting Alex Stein is clearly a bot.
It's fake, yes.
But that will be Sarah G, 27,522. And then you'll get, a Stephen Smith, 27,522, with a copy and pasted exactly the same thing. And then you'll get a few real responses, and then you'll get a few more of those.
Yeah.
It's like nonstop. But I'm speaking of the evolution of this entire deal, I'm surprised. I was expecting Elon to get more out of this. I did not expect him to come back with that high of a bid.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys see Elon's back and forth with Zelensky? It went viral where he did some polls and Zelensky asked if he was a puppet for Russia. So I think Elon Musk is realizing this is huge. I mean, in this culture war, all the blue check marks that all, aggregate to the top and they're all pushed up by Twitter. It's like if he has that in the messaging, that controls the narrative. Twitter really can because it controls a lot of those blue check marks. So I think it's super powerful.
So I wanna. We have that tweet. Elon tweeting out this random poll. Ukraine-Russia peace. Redo elections of annexed regions under UN supervision. Russia leaves if that is the will of the people. Another option, Crimea, formerly part of Russia, as it has been since 1783. Water supply to Crimea assured. Ukraine remains neutral. So this is kind of what he is putting out as like a possibility for peace. And he took a poll. He took a Twitter poll, and it was 40.9% yes, 59.1% no. It was voted on. That's fascinating. 2.7 million votes. Which, is not scientific at all, but is fascinating. And Vladimir Putin's spokesman welcomed the proposals and said Musk is still trying to look for ways to achieve peace. And Ukraine's outgoing ambassador to Germany tweeted out, "F off is my very diplomatic reply to you."
I love this. I mean, this is how we should settle it in the Twitter streets. So I'm all about this, Elon.
Yeah, right. Joe Biden doesn't seem to be open to Elon's pointers since he tweeted yesterday. Today, I spoke with President Zelensky to underscore that the U.S. will never recognize Russia's purported annexation of Ukrainian territory. I reaffirmed my commitment to continue supporting Ukraine, including through today's new $625 million security assistance package. Yay! Congratulations, America. Your money continues to be money laundered and funneled over to Ukraine. You won't actually know what the money is being spent on, and you're going to be paying for it, and your children's children's children are going to be paying for it. But don't worry, congratulations. We are supporting Ukraine. Make sure to put that Ukrainian flag in your bio.
Crazy. What is amazing to me, besides the blank check that we've just written, given to them, it's a classic Cold War fight, the Ukraine-Russia thing. Really, it's pretty much the West against Vladimir Putin at this point. Ukraine is just the one that's being used to fight this war. And but in the past, when they used to fight this back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, they weren't so nonchalant with how vocal they are about it. So these things were done in secret. Like we would supply some random group that would give them money to buy weapons, and those weapons would be bought from some place in the Middle East, and then those weapons would be shipped from a shady cargo ship that was marked turnips, to Ukraine, and then the weapons would get there, and then we'd fight our proxy war.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Biden will just be like, yeah, we're giving $7 billion, specifically to buy tanks, this, and this, and we're giving it all there to go kill Russians. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me. I can't fathom where we are right now. It's insanely escalatory.
Yeah.
I don't know where this ends. Russia, called up what they said 300,000 people, in a partial mobilization.
75-year-olds.
Yeah, it's like, they're pulling them out of like the poorest areas, they're just pulling like these old guys and kids with no experience, and they're throwing them out on the front lines. But this is only just the beginning. I think it's much larger than 300,000. It's if they're pulling people out of Siberia, with no experience whatsoever, it's larger than 300,000. These troops haven't even made it to the front lines yet. Probably I don't know, late winter, next spring, you're going to start seeing these people come. And then who knows how many more will be called. So my point is, this is only just the beginning of how far this is going to go. It's going to go a lot further. So how far are we going to push back on, and how more vocal are we going to get? Where does this end for them?
Well, we know it's a proxy war because they blamed the food shortage, energy shortage, everything on Putin. So it is literally us against Putin, and I think that is really what, at the end of the day, it's like Dan Crenshaw even admitted he got mad at single moms for complaining that they didn't have the baby formula and called them puppets of Putin. So I think World War III is literally inevitable, and I hate that. But to your point, why do we know about this more? Well, I think it's just, I wasn't alive during the Cold War, but now that we have the information superhighways, the internet, it's almost impossible to hide this, and now it's just they have to do it out in the open because there's no other way to operate.
Yeah, they're not even making an effort to try and hide it.
Right.
It's braggadocious at this point. Like, look, we're like sending all these like rockets over there. Like, what are you gonna do next?
Right.
It's like they're daring them to one up each other.
Yep.
And on top of that,
wild.
single
Scary.
families can't afford a home. I mean, inflation's through the roof, and gas prices are just now skyrocketing again.
Yeah, but you can feel good that you are helping Ukraine. Again, make sure to put your Ukrainian flags in your bio. All right, go ahead.
Can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not unsympathetic to what Ukraine is going through. Like, I think that
I'm not either. It's just like I have my own problems.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, I support you in that I back you from fighting and reclaiming your territory from an aggressor.
Right.
Like, I do.
But just don't join NATO.
Well, then that's a whole. You're going to get me started.
Yeah,
Oh God, don't get him started.
It's only a 45-minute show.
Yeah, you weren't around for the Farm Bill era, but trust me when I tell you, you don't want another repeat of the Farm Bill. All right, so if you guys are watching this on YouTube right now, we love you, we appreciate you, but I'm just saying you're going to want to head over to Blaze for this next block. We're going to be talking about an election conspiracy theory that, might have come true, and the conversation, of course, will not be safe for YouTube and their benevolent overlords. Make sure you head over to BlazeTV, and we'll catch you there. Because apparently cartoon sexuality is supposed to be like a thing that we're all supposed to care about and pay attention to. The teaser for the latest Scooby-Doo movie, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, reveals that, yes, Velma is now a lesbian. Watch.
And as promised, here are your Scooby snacks. Jinkies.
Why? Why?
I can't be the only
Why?
one that says this, but now she's a lot hotter.
I hate you. I would go to Jason, but he's just going to agree. So I don't even know where to take that.
Kind of hard.
I'm so sick of them doing this. Like, I just want shows that my child can consume and watch without you guys interjecting this weird sexual stuff.
Yep.
I mean, sexuality was never an issue on Scooby-Doo back in the day.
No.
You didn't have to inject it.
It's about a
Solving
freaking
mysteries
dog.
with a dog.
It's not solving mysteries.
With a dog who talks. Just keep it that, please.